basically, we're interested in, like, how did you decide to start this business?
Okay, so you're going to ask me a few questions.
I'm
You
just
want
going
me
to ask
to
you a
ask?
few questions.
Okay, sure.
I mean, you can keep going if you want.
All right, all right. So you want me to start whenever
Yeah.
you're ready? Okay, well, basically, I started this business per chance. I mean, I was originally a businessman from, I could take my business days back to when I was a kid. But I was recently released from prison when I started this. And I had done maybe about 14 years in prison on and off. And I was in a shelter and I needed to make some money. And so there was a guy in the shelter who told me about shea butter, this product here. And I knew really little to nothing about shea butter. I did some research and I found out, okay, people are selling this. It's good for your skin, scars, marks, similar to cocoa butter, but much better. And he actually had the money. I didn't have any. He bought the shea butter. He was very impatient, a little younger than myself, and he wanted his money back like yesterday. And so I eventually got $100 and bought the shea butter from him, put it in the closet or put it away for a minute until I actually secured a table. And I came out here and said, this looks like a good spot. And I set the table up. And I was fortunate because there were other people set up here, but one guy who was set up here just happened to be leaving at the same time I was coming to set up. And he said, look, you can have the spot. And this spot literally is a gold mine if you know the location. The location, when you're doing retail, and this is one of the ultimate locations to have in this area. 125th and Lenox, right in front of Starbucks. I mean, it's really, really busy here. So I didn't really, had an intention to start this business. I know I needed to do something, and it was better to employ myself than look for employment just due to my situation.
So what do you think, what kinds of knowledge or skills do you think was helpful for you?
Well, you should be a people person if you're going to be in sales. So you shouldn't be afraid to talk to people. That's a very important skill if you're going to be in sales. It's not a necessity to be in business because you can have other skills and get a sales rep so long as you have to get the skills that complement you. You might be good with the numbers or the back office stuff. But so if you're actually on the street though selling, or if you're in front of people and trying to push your product, you really should have at least some type of sales skills, or you have to have someone who does have sales skills to assist. So sales skills as far as selling, pushing, if you have a product-based business or even a service-based business, salesmanship skills are very important, amongst others. But that's one of the most important that I can think of as far as this type of business.
So sales skills, anything else? Does it help to understand how to do a spreadsheet or earn money?
Well, the spreadsheets, numbers are critical for any business because you must know if you're making a profit. And how will you know that unless you keep account of the numbers? So keeping track of your finances, how much money you're spending, how much money you're making, writing things down, gathering receipts is a very important skill because you could be grossing revenue of like $500,000 and really not making any profit, which is, I know somebody who was doing that. So having those skills are very important. If you don't have those skills, you either have to get somebody who can teach you or you have to hire somebody, but you still really need to know the numbers as an owner or as an entrepreneur because someone else can be telling you some crazy number and you really need to understand the numbers yourself.
So people, person, numbers, at least, and anything else you think is like a critical skill?
Well, you have to understand your target market, and you should have some type of management skills if you're going to be dealing with employees. I don't have employees, what I have are team members or, independent sales reps, people who assist me, but I don't consider any of them my employee because they work for themselves to feed their family, take care of their responsibilities. They work with me, not for me. That's my motto. But you really should have some managerial skills because you're going to have to manage, even if not people, you're going to have to manage the business itself. You're going to have to manage your time. You're going to have to manage, the daily ongoings and operations of the business. So you need some type of management skills in order to manage the business successfully over the long period. That's going to be very important, very important. Understanding your target market is critical as well. So who are you selling to? Is it business to business or is it business to consumer? And so where you're located will determine partially who your target market is. You know, I have a niche target market. I'm here in Harlem, Central Harlem, on 125th and Lenox, right in front of Starbucks. And my target market is African American women between the ages of 29 and 65 who live and or work in Harlem. Why? Because they have the greatest opportunity to come by here and purchase. Now, do I sell to other people? Sure, I sell to people all over the world. But if it wasn't for that particular target market, I would be struggling as a business because that's my foundation. Everything branches off from that. I sell to people in China, in the UK, you know, in Brazil, people all over the city, on all persuasions, all nationalities. But that is my core market, so that's who I target when I do my marketing, and I really need to understand them. And then, you know, I just get other people as a result of just the location and other things that I do.
And you got to understand your product.
Oh yes, you must understand your product because what you're going to sell to people are the benefits. And so if you don't know the benefits of the product, then how can you give them the solution to what they're looking for? You know, people oftentimes buy what they want, not what they need. But you still have to understand your product, and I'd say understand it backwards and forward so that you really, really, really can, and you have to be able to, not convince, but you have to be able to give that information to people and let them make their own choices. And so you need to give that information to your sales team as well. They have to understand the product because they are the ones who are going to be the front line. You know, the sales is what generates the most revenue. So you really have to understand your product. Do your research and, you know, really understand your product and your target market as well. And if you understand your product and your target market, you get the match, and you're in business, you're doing sales. Right. And to a greater degree.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah.
You really need to understand, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand my target market. I understand even the foot traffic here because I've given, let's say I have a sales rep and she has her children with her. I give them a job. I give them a counter, and I have them count how many people pass by this table every day. Per hour, I know certain days the foot traffic. I also know that if this business closes, this office, Con Edison closed, they move 4 or 5 blocks away, that affects my foot traffic, therefore it affects my business. Because people going to and from Con Ed, they may not normally be my customer, but they pass by me, they ask me for directions, and I can interest them and let them know I'm here and what I'm selling. And so just the opportunity presents itself for them to buy from me. And if they're no longer here, the foot traffic is not here. So when businesses open and close, when offices open and close, I stay aware of that because it affects my business and how it runs and how I market, who I market to. It's very important. So we have new businesses around the corner here. We have a few restaurants that just opened up, a lot of foot traffic late at night here in this area. And so that helps, you know, because it helps make up for the businesses that's closed. I think President Clinton moved his office from this building down the street here. He was here. I no longer think he's here. But different offices come and go, so you really have to understand how that affects your business. Even though I'm a street merchant, but it matters. It really does. So you really have to understand those things as well. Because then you can adjust what you're doing. And when your business goes down or when the economy gets tough, oftentimes entrepreneurs believe that they should cut back. And you should on certain things. But your marketing should increase because you need to be in front of your customers, reminding them of why they need to continue shopping with you when they're trying to make those tough choices. When they're trying to make those tough choices, you need to be in there in their mind as a reminder of why they should continue to shop with you, even if they shop with you a little less or spend a little less money. But they should continue to shop with you, and so you need to be in front of them. And so your marketing should remain the same or increase even. You really shouldn't cut back on your marketing when things get tough. You really should let it remain the same or find ways to increase it and be more effective with it. That's the critical as well. You know?
Right. What, in terms of, you know, it says that you don't have employees, but people who work with you, what kind of skills do they need?
Well, you know, it depends on the position. So I have a person who sets up my vehicle, my stand and breaks it down. I have a truck here, they have the key, I have numbers on the ground. I have a system. It's coded. Everything goes in the truck a certain way, and it comes out a certain way. Everything goes in its place. And so what I do to assist them, first of all, they have to be able to follow some basic instructions. But oftentimes I employ the homeless and people sometimes who cannot read, believe it or not. And so what I do is, as far as giving them tools or aids, I use pictures of how this setup should look after the fact. I use video training. Like I may set it up on a video and speed the process up where they are required to watch the video, and just being able to have a booklet back here with instructions, basic operations manual. It's very, very simple. I have numbers on the ground, where the horse legs go. So, they need to be able to follow instructions, but as an entrepreneur, I need to give them the tools necessary to do the job. So that job is easy. So with the sales job, I need people who enjoy talking to people. Because if you don't enjoy talking to people, you're not really going to be very good at sales. And so I look for certain skills in my sales reps, people who are energetic, they smile, you know how to greet people, they're pleasant, and they have to be knowledgeable of the products. In other words, they have to be able to know and understand the products and then convey the products and the benefits of the products to people that I deal with, to the customers. Very good.
Thank you. I think I've used enough of your time. But
No, great. Thank you.
I've ever
Thank
had.
you.
That was
Thank
great.
you. Appreciate you.
And you're a terrific, I can tell, you're a terrific businessman.
No, thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So now, will you be able to, I'll be able to,